Dear Father in heaven, please bless this morning as I share a few thoughts. I ask it in Jesus' name. Amen. It's been a while since I made part 4 of getting ready for marriage. I'm calling it red flags, but my wife and I have been very, very busy out in the garden. Just recently she's been digging sweet potatoes.
And I'm digging sweet potatoes. These are bunch Puerto Ricos. Nice, a little bit drier than like a Georgia Jet, but very sweet still.
Yeah.
A little more yellow, and they don't get quite as big as some, but still they can get a good size on them. This looks like a nice one here.
Wow.
I'm about to pull out. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It's a Georgia Jet, could be 2 or 3 times that size.
Yeah.
This is a nice size, and then some of them are smaller, of course. Get this one out. Sometimes they can get a little bit long and sometimes fat down low too, but I love digging sweet potatoes.
You do?
It's so much fun because you never know what you're going to find, and so it's kind of exciting. That was long and
Well,
skinny.
you
but
love
still.
to dig them. I love to eat them.
Yeah, I love to eat them too, but I especially love to dig them. And that one's a pretty good size. That's all from one plant here. That looks good.
Yeah.
There's another one. Oh, a couple more here. There's one.
That's amazing. That's a meal right there in this one plant.
That really is.
2 meals.
Good. There's a little one. Oh, I don't know if 2 meals. We might.
Whoa, that's a big one.
That's a pretty good size.
Okay, that's lunch in a couple of weeks.
Yep. So I feel another one. This must be from the next plant over. And I space them about 1 foot apart, so you don't have a lot of room. It's hard to get out of the ground without breaking them. I'm trying not to break them. I'm getting ant bites on my hands. We do have a few fire ants here still.
Plenty of ants.
Plenty of ants. And they don't seem to bother the sweet potatoes though, just me. So here we go. Try to get this one out. Oh, there's a little one.
Okay.
Now let's see if we can get the bigger one out.
That's a 3-pounder there, isn't it?
I don't think so. Maybe a pound. Maybe not even a pound on that one, maybe a half a pound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to let you continue to dig. It's about to rain. I better go get some things done.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Yeah, I like to dig. I don't mind digging in the rain a little bit either.
That's my wife out there in the garden getting the sweet potatoes in, and she is a sweet wife. Marriage is an important subject. You want to understand as much as you can before you make that long-term commitment, and it is long-term, right, until death do us part. You want to really know the person before you marry them. Picking tomatoes?
Picking tomatoes, honey.
A lot of them are split from the rain, huh?
They are. These little cherry ones really split. It's been so dry.
Didn't get rain for weeks, and we got a whole lot in one day.
And all that rain, they just went crazy and burst.
Yeah. They say when it rains, it pours. And I'm thankful to have the best wife in the world, but all men can have the best wife. When you get married, it's a long-term commitment. And so you want to make sure that you know the person that you're going to marry. And there are some things that you look for as you do your investigation regarding potential spouse.
What would I look for in a potential husband if I weren't married, maybe if I were young and wanted to get married? And I thought of a few qualities that I think are important. I know there are a lot of things I probably haven't even contemplated.
And I call these red flag warnings. It's a sign that this might be a danger. You might want to consider this before going forward.
Also, that he be a hard worker and be able and willing to support a family, to take that responsibility, and maybe have practical skills to go along with that. And also along with that would be wanting to live in the country, a love for nature and God's creation. And I think it's important that we be able to build our own house and have a garden, grow our food, take care of ourselves in many different ways. And so that would be another characteristic I would look for in a potential husband. I know there are more, but those are the ones that stood out in my mind as the most important.
You know, marriage is a wonderful institution. It's a lifelong blessing, but you need to be careful before you make the commitment. So the fifth commandment is to honor your mother and your father. And as you look at the potential spouse and you see how they treat their parents, it gives you an indication of how they're going to treat you. Also, as you see the in-laws, the mother and father, most of the time, they stamp their character on the children. So you can see what kind of influence the children had as they were growing up in their parental home. And it raises the question, if the child, if the young man, the young woman, does not honor his parents, will he honor you once he's married? And the indication is probably not. You know, every home, in order to succeed, it needs leadership. And of course, that's the position of the father, of the man, of the husband. He is the high priest of the home. But you know, often the man may be away on business, not there in the evening, and then the mother takes charge. So the mother and the father together, they work to lead their children to Christ. But if they can't direct their own experience, how can they direct the children? So you need some maturity in the one that's going to be your potential spouse. The true spirit of the Christian religion, the true spirit of a happy union is one of self-sacrifice. That means the husband considers his wife before he considers himself. And when a man puts his wife first, he really gets the blessing. And when he puts his children first, the difference, he's blessed by it. You know, Jesus, Hebrews 2:17, he's a merciful high priest. He's there working to make reconciliation for our wrongs, for our faults. That's the role of the husband in the marriage. You know, there's a nice verse in Ephesians 4:26. It says, "Let not the sun go down on your wrath." And that means that the Lord is requiring of the husband to be a peacemaker in the home.
Dug the bed out, had dirt all outside the bed. And then once I finished digging, I started moving the dirt back in the bed. Now I've got it raked up. And then I put some horse manure. And I'm about to put some ash and charcoal mix that I got at a sawmill where they're burning their sawdust.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to plant some buckwheat in here because I have a few weeks before frost. And buckwheat's a good thing. The bees will, I don't know if I think it'll have time to flower, but it's good for the soil. And it's like a little cover crop. And then once frost hits, it'll die. And then I'm going to put some leaves over that and be ready for spring to plant.
Wow, it's a lot of preparation.
It's a lot of preparation.
I remember back in Butler Creek, we were staying up. Well, you were staying up late, and you were making preparation for the work you had to do. What were you, bookkeeper and teaching in the class, working with the lifestyle guests? You had a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah. But what was keeping me up later was making schedules for people. I had to get all the schedules done. And I remember one night I was up late. I was down at the office making schedules, and I was so tired I couldn't think of who needed to go where, what they needed to do. And so I was sitting there just weary-eyed looking at that schedule. It's like the voice of the Lord just spoke to me. He said, "Go home and go to bed." And he said, "I'll help you do it faster in the morning." I know that thought was from the Lord because I didn't think that. I mean, that the Lord was going to help me do it faster in the morning. And so I thought that, and about the same time, I had this realization that if I didn't take care of my health, nobody was going to. That nobody was going to make me stop working so much. Nobody was going to make me go to bed. You might ask me to go to bed early, but you couldn't do it for me. I had to make that decision. And right then and there, I decided I was going to make some changes. Now, I can't say I've been perfect in that, but I surely have tried. And I tried to get in bed a little bit earlier than I used to.
You know, we talk about the laws of health, but you know, if you know the law but don't keep it, you don't get the benefits.
That's right. Knowing it doesn't help you.
Yeah, that's it. All right, you enjoy the rest of your hoeing in the bed. I'm going to go in and make tortillas.
That sounds wonderful.
You know, when it comes to the Christian perspective, often, you know, it's been so perverted and twisted because a man takes the role as a dictator. He claims to be the head of the household, and he quotes these verses out of Ephesians chapter 5. The husband is the head of the wife, that's Ephesians 5:23. And even as Christ is the head of the church. But he leaves off Ephesians 5:25. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. A man has to be willing to die for his wife. This is the kind of leadership he exerts in the home. The physical strength, he has more of that than she does. But he doesn't use that strength to persecute and push his wife. He uses that strength to defend his home. You know, if the cat burglar is coming in the window, it's not the wife that gets up and fights. It's the man that gets up and protects his family. Watch out, Darlene, there's a low tree in the way. Watch out, there you go. An obstacle. Darlene navigated that rather well. You know, something I really treasure in the husband-wife relationship, the secret sacred circle. It's an intimacy, and it's a confinement within that circle of faults and shortcomings of the husband and wife. Now, my wife doesn't have any faults or shortcomings, but I've got plenty. She knows all of them. Dear friends, she's not going to tell anybody. The shortcomings and faults of my life, they are safely hidden in my wife's heart, and she's not telling anybody, because fault finding brings separation. A couple years ago, I was going to New York. Darlene said, well, where are you going to be staying in New York? If I say none of your business, you can see the problem with that. It is my wife's business. Honey, this is where I'm going to be staying. These are the people I'll be staying with. When will you be back? Oh, I'll be back September 24th, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. She'll eagerly be awaiting my arrival. Dear friends, there's no secrets in a marriage relationship. I've got no secrets to keep from my wife, and she's got no secrets to keep from me. And as we unite in the marriage relationship, there is a secret, sacred circle. Everything stays inside that circle. It doesn't go out.
Is that broccoli?
That's broccoli. I think this is the best looking broccoli that we've ever grown. We have a lot of broccoli this year, and the heads are getting very big.
Yeah, I was surprised.
It's a birthday present for me.
Birthday? Who had a birthday?
I had a birthday last week,
How old are you?
and I turned 71.
71.
Praise God.
You know, and the important things, my wife and I do unite. We have perfect unity in all the things that really matter. You know, sometimes in the morning I want to rake leaves, Darlene wants to dig sweet potatoes. We may not agree on what we want to do that morning, but that's a minor. It's not important. It doesn't endanger the safety and security of the home. And when you have this deep love for each other that only God can give, right? You got this deep love for each other, you'll be able to say in Song of Solomon 4 verse 7, thou art all fair, my love, there is no spot in thee. Yeah, that's in the Bible. But how can Christ look at his church and say that? Or how can I look at my wife and say, Darlene, you're all fair, you're my love, there's no spot in you? Well, it's easy, because love covers a multitude of faults. And I love my wife, and those other things, they don't really matter. Well, you want to dig sweet potatoes this morning? Honey, I love you, dig all you want. And when you have that mutual love for each other, it makes life just a little heaven on the earth. So dear friends, may God bless you today. May He give you wisdom. If you're already married, may He prosper your marriage. May He increase your happiness and peace. May He give you a little heaven on the earth. And if you're thinking about the subject of marriage, may God lead you and guide you and open your eyes to the things that you need to see. Now, if you're not a Christian, you don't worry. If you're not a Christian, God still has an interest in you. You know, in John 12:32, if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men. He's drawing all men. Whether you know Him or not, He knows you, and He's drawing you, and He wants you to be happy in your home. When I married Darlene, I was atheist, secular. I won't go into the details. And my wife was a spiritualist and a Buddhist. And the two of us, when we came together in a husband and wife relationship, that was an ill-fitting relationship. Lots of problems, lots of stress, lots of talk about divorce. It seemed like separation was imminent. But God was on the job. I don't know that God led in the relationship in the beginning. I don't know that God chose her to be my wife, right? He chose me to be her husband. I'm not saying that. But I am saying once we had the relationship and we made the commitment, God did all He could to bring our hearts into union with first Him and then with each other. So dear friends, if you don't know God today, He knows you. And I suggest you just you do an experiment in your life today. You say, if there's a God out there, I need some help in my relationships. They haven't been working for me. I want something to change. And if there's a God, help me. And see what He can do for you in your life.